Get out of my
You need a gun?
like that Family Guy episode with the
Lots,
team.
Rob.
Where's Godzilla?
That is a
Who's got the who's got the electrical tennis racket?
I can't tell.
Oh,
those things are awesome, man.
I don't know, but that thing will like juice up real good.
Somebody call Godzilla. We got a Mothman in the room. All right, welcome back. This is CopBlock Radio. Hour number 2 kicks off now. We are live on LRN.FM and at CopBlock.org/live. Coming up, we'll be talking about a cop killer. Who is a cop? What? I've got the story for you coming up soon. But first, we're joined by Daryl W. Perry, who's running for president in 2016. Your ruler.
Well, no, I don't want to rule anyone. I'm actually running on a platform of abolishing the U.S. federal government. I don't know of any other candidate anywhere that's trying to say the same thing or do the same thing.
Mr. Perry, if you are elected, will your first action as president be pardoning Snowden, Ross, and Manning?
Yes.
All right.
I forget.
You got my vote. I don't give a shit what else you do after that.
That's it.
You got my vote.
Vermin Supreme who? It's Perry all the way. That's quite a platform.
Yeah,
Other
and the
positions?
bumper stickers here, yes, I do have other positions, but the bumper stickers that I have here, I actually paid for with Bitcoin
All right.
through the Vote for Nobody campaign.
That was raced through the Silk Road. That's amazing, Daryl.
Yeah, no, so Dobby Barker with Bitcoin Not Bombs, the Muslim agorist, he was doing a thing of bring the Vote for Nobody campaign to Porcfest. And they were selling custom bumper stickers, and I needed bumper stickers, and they needed money, so I said, okay, I'll buy for you. And it was
How serendipitous.
just a couple dollars more, and it was actually a larger size than if I would have gone through another vendor that I was looking at anyway.
Larger stickers or larger quantity?
Both, actually.
Okay.
And
More is better.
wound up, giving money to the Vote for Nobody campaign to promote my campaign. So it's one of those sort of things. How many other candidates would ever say, like, I'm advocating voting for nobody? Like, I don't want rulers.
So this is CopBlock Radio. Do you do cop blocking?
Not so much now. I have done some in the past. The schedule that I'm on now sort of precludes that because I'm generally going to bed somewhat early-ish, waking up early. I do a newscast 7 days a week, and I get that recorded and published before 9 o'clock in the morning. And so, like writing news, you have to do that. I could wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to write the news, but I write it before I go to bed, so I'm writing news about 10:30, 10:45.
Yeah.
Need to get some sleep because otherwise I wind up being sleep deprived like I kind of am here at Porcfest.
Well,
And, I don't really have the schedule to be able to do it now.
Derek, it's past his bedtime. He needs to
I'm sorry, we're not letting you go. You're being detained.
You go out with the checkpoint blockers and stuff though too, right?
Those are generally on Fridays, which is the night that I'm on Free Talk Live. So again, it's one of those conflicting schedules. sort
There's
of
too much
thing.
activism going on in Keene for Daryl to do it
But
all.
this is a busy man. This
Yeah.
is a busy man.
It's true.
Running for president's not easy.
Well, that aside, I'm more interested in the recording the police aspects of it. I mean, you ride an unusual vehicle. Do you keep
Yes.
a dash cam in there?
I do not, and I probably should. I do have a camera, on my phone that's always accessible if I need a camera.
Right.
And I've had some very interesting experiences filming police in the past. So there's a video up from about 5 years ago, I believe, where I was doing like a one-man Memorial Day protest at the St. Louis Arch. And I'm walking around with a bullhorn, and then park police approach me. I had not yet pulled out the video camera to begin recording. They approached, and I said, I'm going to reach into my pocket and pull out a camera now. And he was like, just hold on a minute. And
He wouldn't
reached him, and he just said, hold on a minute. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out my camera and
Like you said
started
you
filming.
would.
Like I said I was going to. he steps into what I call taser distance
Okay.
and put his hand on his taser while he continues to talk to me and ask me about identification. And I'm asking the question, am I being detained? Am I being accused of committing a crime? And he
Wow.
came
And
up
was
with,
this on video?
that first part is not.
Were
What's
you
on
actually-
video,
What were you recording on?
I was recording on a Vivitar something,
What is that?
the type of video camera.
Oh, okay.
So no, there was no live
Not a
streaming.
cell phone.
No, I did not have a smartphone until like 2012.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, this is 5 years ago, so.
yeah, so this was 2010, and ultimately, he convinced me to hand over a government document with my name and photo on it, and
Hold on. He didn't convince you, he coerced you.
Yeah, that's right.
right, well, through
This
like
question is very
the
convincing.
wiggling of the taser and state,
That's coercion, not convincing.
right.
Right.
Okay, so air quotes, he convinced me.
His arguments were so persuasive.
Yeah, and then it wound up, he's calling over the radio asking something. I'm like, if you just give me my driver's license back, I will leave and I will never come back to your city.
You said that to him?
Yeah, and then he ultimately wound up
Like
giving me my driver's license back,
That's a
and
good
I've
deal.
never gone back to his city.
Okay.
Although he did tell me, like, if you want to keep protesting, you can, but you have to go stand down by the river. And the river was flooded and nobody was walking down there. The other place was 7 blocks away in the opposite direction of where the arch was.
Are the cops better than where you've lived in the past here in New Hampshire?
Cops in New Hampshire, I don't know. I've had more interactions with them here than I did in Texas
Why?
or Arizona.
Why, you're a troublemaker everywhere you go. Why are you having more interactions?
Probably because I'm more visible here.
Why?
Because I'm doing a lot more media. They know who I am.
Yeah.
When I was living in South
And he's in
Carolina,
places where cops are on purpose, more likely.
no, like the last couple of times I got tickets were not times that I tried getting tickets. Like the last ticket, the one that I wound up going to jail for.
Yeah, that's right. You went to jail recently for a park. What was it?
It was not parking. It was a residency ticket where they claimed that I was a resident of New Hampshire but did not fulfill the requirements that a resident must fulfill, and also unregistered vehicle. I was driving home from the polling booth on election day of 2013, and the police officer that pulled me over was coming from the opposite direction with his lights on, drove past 2 cars, and I'm thinking, wow, this guy's in a hurry, I better get out of his way.
Yeah.
And I pull over and he stops behind me.
He told a different story in trial, right?
He says that he does not recall whether or not he passed any other
How
vehicles.
convenient. And there are no dash
That's
cams
right,
in Keene.
Right,
So there's no objective record for you.
right. And he did admit that there was an anonymous tip that I was driving an unregistered vehicle.
From another cop, most likely.
He would not say who it was from,
Yeah.
but there was an anonymous tip,
Yeah.
and so he pulled me over, gave me
Since
the
when is that
ticket.
justification? I
He-
thought
he
you were supposed to
also-
be able to face your accuser in America.
Yeah, they
Oh,
come
some
on
anonymous
face.
tip. Yeah, let me face Mr. Anonymous, please. I'd
Yeah.
like to have a word with him.
The officer notes that generally are admissible because they're written on the back of the ticket.
Mhm.
The prostitution attorney, the prostituting attorney, the difference between a prostitute and an attorney is that hookers are upfront about what they do for money. So the prostituting attorney introduces the ticket with the officer notes on the back as evidence. I asked the officer about his officer notes, and the prostituting attorney objects to their own evidence as hearsay. But the judge allowed me to ask the question, but said that it was not admissible because it was hearsay, even though it was their own evidence. And the testimony was that I told him I am not a resident of New Hampshire. And that's very important because there's a statute in New Hampshire that says that if you claim to be a resident somewhere else, you're not a resident of New Hampshire. If you do not claim to be a resident of New Hampshire, you are not a resident of New Hampshire.
Daryl W. Perry, Perry for President in 2016.
DarylWPerry.com.
And FPP.cc.
.cc.
As in Creative Commons. Hey, Daryl, thanks so much for being on with us.
Thanks for
tonight.
having me on.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.
Get some sleep and do Porcfest again tomorrow. Thanks for running for president.
Yes, sir.
Now, do I get a cozy cabinet position when you're...
The Department of Flaming.
All right,
I guess.
I'll take it, yes.
The czar is the czar.
The czar of flavor, that's even better.
Hey, if you've got the mic on, can you make a brief announcement about my newest project, raising funds for my new book?
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll talk about that when we come back.
Awesome.
Rad. Thanks, Daryl.
This is my favorite work because we sit by the top line all day and all I hear is stories about we've been doing this happened, we've actually traffic stop, this, I did this, I did that. It's great. I love hearing everybody.
Thanks,
See you
Daryl.
tomorrow.
Have a good night.
How you doing, man?
Where you at?
Free
Oh, okay, man. Well, take care, man. Have a
Anybody else in the audience record the police?
I know.
good one. I have one.
Anyone record the police?
I want to. I got an offer out.
Yeah. You got a film the police shirt on.
I did it one time and I didn't get a bus ride on it, so I did it all right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of just sketchy like stories with them.
Yeah.
That's like initiating a sketch. As opposed to just like
Dave, you told me about that one time you were recording the police, the most recent one. You didn't have any
Yeah, it was
problems.
probably, I'd say probably within 6 months. It was in New Orleans.
to be on the radio.
We all got into offshore. A buddy of mine left to go get an Allen wrench and fix his motorcycle. They didn't have one. And,
What happened when you recorded them? Did they have a problem?
They were really cool about it, but that was like.
That's really weird. I don't know if I should take that as an insult or what. But I did take
When
that.
I got
I don't know if I was
there,
meant
they were
to.
just putting him in the car because he has a mouth on him, and I was just like, oh shit.
All right, you
Got
guys
that
have a good night.
supported, so if they beat him, at least I'm gonna get out something. And when I got up there, the first thing I heard was Ben's mouth running, and they were just putting him in the car.
See you, Dio. Derek.
Have a good night, Luke.
You too.
Yeah, but like when I went up there, I was like, hey man, you know, my hands are up, I'm just gonna grab my phone, I'm gonna record this. And they were cool with it.
One of the good things about what you guys do is that you just come across situations where there are police brutality. I remember I was just delivering pizza once in this apartment complex. And I saw this lady like just getting dragged out of her apartment, and then she, like he saw me and dropped her, and she's like and he was like, "You go get your ID or whatever." But like it was just like, "What are you doing with this lady?" And he was in full uniform. He was like, "What are you doing? Like you're interfering with justice?" And it's just like, I don't know.
Interfering with justice.
Interfering with justice.
Okay.
It was like
Justice all over your
Justice looks a lot like you pulling her fucking hair.
Well, it's like in my case, you know, when I was talking to Dio the other day, and I told him I was from New Orleans, he said, dude, you gotta be careful down there. He
Hell
said,
yeah.
they will kill you.
Can you come on for a segment? Is that okay with you? I know you were comfortable in the other chair.
Actually, that's your.
If you don't
my ass.
Come on. You wait a little. You alright?
Oh, my back's starting bothering me.
Sorry, man.
No, it's
You
okay.
want the comfy chair? I'll bring it
No, no,
over.
no, no. It's just like at the end of the day, I think it's from like walking up the hills all day.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, I'm getting old, you know. I'm like 26.
Hey, is Freedom Feed still at 1?
Yes, sir.
You doing that show too?
Well, I gotta be here to make sure that they go live at the right time.
Put these on.
CopBlockRadio. We're back, and we're gonna finish up talking about Daryl W. Perry. He's got A Rebel's Journey. A Rebel's Journey describes Gerald's path to the ideas of liberty, which began as a search for traditional values. You can learn more at fpp.cc. So thanks, Gerald, for being on.
He's raising money for it. He's raising money for the
money
book.
for the book.
Okay.
That's what that's about.
He will give away a book if he reaches his goal. So that's, help out the fundraiser. Gerald's a good guy, and he's running for president. So in this segment, I wanted to ask Dave to join us. He introduced himself to me a couple of days ago, said he's from New Orleans, and that he had been doing some cop blocking, felt inspired by some of the folks who hold video cameras to the police, hold them accountable. And how did it go for you, Dave, when you were video recording? It was about 6 months ago?
Yeah, a friend of mine called me and said he got pulled over and said he was going to get a DUI.
The cops were right there. He called you while they were...
Well, actually, it was a guy that was in the passenger seat. And
Oh, okay.
Called, and we got a cab and went up there. The rest of us, we had a few drinks and went up there. And I just wanted to get a recording of it, to protect him, because New Orleans Police Department, PD, are kind of known to, violate people's rights and, actually, assault people, and my friend, he will speak his mind, and actually when I needed to get up there, he was speaking his mind, and I got it on video, and the police were actually, they were very, considerate, and, but this was right after pretty much, when Ferguson was, going on. And I think that had a lot to do with it, because they didn't give me any hassle or anything like that.
Yeah, you think the cops have been trained to, they have learned about dealing with people who are video recording because of things like Ferguson?
Oh, definitely. It's like, when cop block guys were down in New Orleans,
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
A few years
they sent
back.
out a memo about Pete being in.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they warned all
That
their
was,
officers.
that was New Orleans?
Yeah.
Yep. They warned all their officers
they
that they were in town.
did, and I think that had a lot to do with it, because NOPD is notorious for, giving you a good thumping. Even
It's a
if
good
you-
old boy system down there.
This is the best one that I got for, New Orleans Police Department. When I first went to New Orleans, I didn't grow up there. I've been down there about 10 years now, and a buddy of mine that grew up there, when we went in there, when I first got into town, he told me, he said, do not look the state police in the eye. I said, what do you mean? He said,
What? That's
he
like what
said-
they tell you about criminals.
This is what they tell you about dogs.
He said, do not look, the state police in the eyes. I was like, okay. I said, well, what about the NOPD? He said, don't even look their way.
Wow.
And after I've lived there, for so many years,
How many years? You've been there?
I've
You're
been
from
down there
there?
about 10 years. No,
Oh.
I grew up in Illinois, a little farm town.
And what's the difference like? The police worse where you are now in Louisiana?
Well, I mean, my personal experience is I think Henry County, Illinois is the worst place in the world. 'Cause,
Wow.
they almost killed me, but just for me running my mouth. But it's a long story, guys.
Yeah, but a lot of people who see the problems with the police apparatus are themselves victims of police abuse, and you yourself
Right.
are one
Well,
from a very young
It's
age.
it's funny because a lot of people. This is my first Porcfest. I've been
Welcome.
working for years. Thank you guys. It's awesome. Anybody out there that gets a chance, you gotta come, man.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about, you want to get into this movement, just
Do yourself
it.
a favor.
Do it.
Porcfest.com is the website.
It's
Book
awesome.
your tickets.
The people are extremely nice.
It's not too late. If you're listening to this now
It's
live,
not.
you can still
It is
come
not,
to Porcfest.
This is part of my favorite part, is like, because all day I get to hear the stories from people about their cop block stories and stuff. I love that.
Yeah, so what have you got now, Dave? Do you have Bamboozer on your phone? Are you ready to record
I
the
do.
NOPD?
I do.
Sweet. That's what I like to hear.
I have an offer out to a couple people in the Cop Block organization now. I'm willing after this to go with them, and if they're cool with it, we're gonna do a little cop blocking, and I'm gonna learn how to do it from the professionals.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna take them part way home with us and stop on the way a couple places.
And I actually, if there's anybody from New Orleans that is listening to this, or from the New Orleans area, I want to get something going on down there because we need it, we really do.
Yeah.
I mean, we need
You're not alone.
something going on down there, because NOPD, everybody says, well, my town is the most corrupt.
Yeah.
NOPD has got some issues, they are violating our rights, and we need to stand up,
That's the
and
police
take
department
care of
that actually took American citizens' guns.
Right there, Katrina.
They went door to door and took your guns. So people,
You're right.
You talk about bad police departments. How bad could it be? Door-to-door raids seems pretty bad to me. So, but people just forget about that.
One thing I do want to say, I was trying to get on that, and
Yeah.
but people are like, well, how did you get involved, into this, And I said, well, actually, I've been involved in this since I was 18 years old, when the police in Henry County, Illinois, almost killed me. I just didn't realize it. I just didn't realize that I have rights. And, and then I, got involved with this. I met y'all here, and I've been following it, online. Thank God for social media.
Yeah.
And, here we are, and I'm getting, more educated here, getting more knowledge, and getting more tools to be able to protect my rights and everybody else's rights. It's just not me, it's everybody else.
So tell me something that you learned about video recording since you've been here. Have you learned anything about what you're going to do next time that's different from last time?
Well, actually, I guess I really haven't, because I really haven't, I'm trying to get these.
I don't know either. I'm asking Dio. You're the professional. You're out cop blocking all the time.
That's why he's gonna come with us.
Of all of
Pick up
us,
some pointers. And
you're the
Exactly.
one who's on the front lines. You're sitting there, you're mouthing to the police.
Oh, yeah.
See, Dio and Adamo, they're so busy doing things, and it's like, I don't want to, corner them and be like, hey, what's this, what's
so give us
that?
some tips then, Dio. What does a person need to know?
Cameras, what's a good camera? I got a ton of
Yeah,
questions.
I have a nice Canon, shoots 1080 HD.
Yeah, and they do well in dark light. I think that's another
Yeah.
important thing. If you're going to be recording the police, make sure you got good low light, because
Yeah.
most of the time you're going to be seeing
Yeah,
them.
I mean, the biggest, I think why I get away with it most is because I let them talk to me first. I don't
You
say
don't
anything.
go up and talk.
I don't say anything to them until they say something to
And
me.
how far away do you stay when you video record?
I'm behind them. I'm not that far away where I can't hear them, but I'm far enough away where I'm not interfering.
What do they say? Do they ever claim that you're interfering with their
No,
investigation?
I've not had that claim yet, except for to say, stand back a little bit further or something like that.
Are you prepared for that?
Sure, sure.
How would you object?
I mean, I did get cited for having a sign that said "turn now."
That's right. How did that turn out?
They
Is that
claim
still
that's
in court?
interference. There was I was trying to get in touch with my lawyer earlier today to find out, so I could say I'm not sure yet. There was supposed to be a dismissal hearing in court yesterday, so I'm waiting to find out how that went.
We will find out, and hopefully be joined by the founder of CopBlock.org, or one of the co-founders.
It is Porcfest.
Adamo, yeah, that's right. We'll wrangle these cats. This is CopBlock Radio. We'll be talking about recording the police when we come back. Porcfest 12.
Rich World.
Oh yeah. I want to talk about the killer cop. The cop killer cop.
Cop.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Hey, that was terrific. No, that was awesome. I loved it. Very real. You're 20-something?
He was making a joke about being 26 because his back hurt.
Oh, I'm just saying that the comment that you made about that band you're promoting on there, all that romance and shit.
I can put that on my resume now.
19.
Derek J, I can put that on my resume now.
Yeah, man.
Came out
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
It's on record now. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Relevant.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Oh yeah, you think 1994, I was get a little sunburn,
I'm
glasses.
22 myself, so.
I was 12, and then
Thank you.
Evil Empire came out in
Nothing
96,
you can do about
so
it now.
I was 14, so I was in 8th grade. I think that's prime listening.
Coconut oil.
Not you.
Yeah, my brother listens.
I don't have
Okay,
it.
okay. Oh, okay.
But who the fuck doesn't listen to get Rage Against the Machine? I mean, come on.
I listen to it.
I love Rage.
But yeah, when I was growing up, that was like, Find My Rebellion.
Yeah. It's a self-titled album.
The self-titled, that's what the
Yeah, the one with the
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I remember a couple of the first
Bomb Track is the first song on the album. I know that.
Killing in the name of
Yeah, which is that. Killing in the Name of is
I gotta go back.
And all because I packed the nine, they fired to the prime time.
Gas and moving like apple trash.
I love their 1999 Woodstock set.
Oh, yeah.
Because they put up the American flag on their speaker box, but in like the last song they like lit it on fire.
Yeah, I quit fucking. I mean,
While playing Killing in the Name of.
people went partying after you were partying. I didn't really understand what
Battle for Los Angeles. I
I'm all for the able.
think it's the last album too.
and then none of
that
that to
guitar.
say about
It's
it.
not even bad.
Thomas
Chapman starts, I'm going around wondering if people want to hear a story.
He went on a
Somebody downstairs told me come up here and share
He's an
something.
audio.
Yeah, we're doing a radio show. We're talking about
They got
recording
a
from
Rage Against the Machine. So audio slaves. They just had Chris Cornell.
we're talking about
basically the
encounters
same
with the
music.
police. Have you ever had one of
The
those?
same musicians with a different singer. He's actually Tom Marcello is actually recording with Bruce Springsteen. He's been playing guitar with Bruce Springsteen for like the past 5 years. Yeah, it was really weird. But yeah, he is. And Zach De La Rocca actually just started a new band. I forget the name of it though, but they're putting out music soon. So that should be interesting.
What kind of sound that band?
All that remains is like metalcore.
Is it really heavy?
Yeah, it's like a screamo.
Yo.
Metalcore. Like, have you ever heard of Killswitch Engage?
There's a couple of good
Have you ever heard of Killswitch Engage?
Yeah, but I feel like you don't make a song. You got something to say. You got
Well, I can understand everything he's saying. Really? Okay. Yeah, once you listen to that music long enough, you understand what they're saying. Okay. But have you ever heard of Killswitch Engage?
Yeah.
So same stuff.
To find out more about the book or to donate, visit aredjerky.com. You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Whoa, this intro sounds tripped out. You guys hear that?
Yeah, and the digital clip coming through the phone line, I guess. We're running through a phone line for this shit.
Yeah. We're in your phone lines and we're in your head. This is CopBlock Radio live at Porcfest. And I want to talk about a cop killer who's also a cop himself. Huh?
What?
So this is not the guy who got a standing ovation from everybody in the gallery who he killed a cop who molested him as a kid and...
No, this is not the same one.
All right.
This is Corporal Josh Coleman of the Gulf Shores Police Department in Alabama, who left his K-9 partner Mason in a police cruiser after he allegedly forgot the dog was in the car. The incident took place on June 18th, 2015. The officer left the dog in his cruiser to go inside to do paperwork, air quotes, not around paperwork, after the two had returned from a hurricane prep conference in the Gulf Shores. And the department released a statement on its Facebook page on June 22nd about the death of the dog after public outrage over the incident. So I bring this up because they treat these cop dogs like they actually are people, and they'll charge you with a felony killing a police officer if you harm their dog or kill it. But if a cop kills the dog, oops. Yeah, is there going to be any penalty for this? I'm wondering.
Or if I killed my own dog this way, I would be charged with animal cruelty.
You sure would.
Yeah, well, Sergeant Jason Woodruff, who is the author of the public statement, writes, quote, Mason was not an enforcement canine. Enforcement canines spend a good deal of time in their handlers' vehicles. So those vehicles are equipped with remote heat alarms, water bowls, and other protective measures. Because Mason's duties did not include long periods in a vehicle, those protective measures were not available in his handler's car. Very sad. So what consequence should befall Josh Coleman for killing this dog?
Well, one, he should be fired for destruction of public property.
Public property, the dog.
You should be charged with the same things that any one of us could be charged with.
Well, they pretend that they treat the animals like people, but they're really treating them like gear, right? It's
Right,
like it's just something like
Just
a
like a
laptop or a taser that you could just leave in your car, forget about, no big deal. And whoops, he died. We'll just move on to the next
another one.
Yeah, you know, when officers die, there's usually a big parade. Wondering if there's a parade for a police dog when he's murdered by one of his handlers.
Yeah, none of these things. If he was murdered by like one of us, then there would be like a big parade and everything, bagpipes and all that.
Yeah, and in this case, they would have changed their statement and said that he was a police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one of the articles that was up on CopBlock Radio, published by Josh Hodgkin, he was asking the question, well, why don't you guys ever report on the criminals? Why don't you guys ever report on the criminals? This is apparently one of the common complaints that people have about CopBlock. What's your response?
Because CNN already does it.
I thought we were reporting on the criminals. We're reporting on the criminal cops, right? I mean, ain't that what we're doing?
Yeah, amen.
Did I miss a meeting or something? I mean...
No, but I mean, do you get this objection? I mean, when you were reporting on CopBlock Radio, Eric, is this something that you would encounter a lot?
I guess maybe. Are they talking about the person who got killed by the cop, or are we supposed to dissect their lives?
Yeah,
I mean, does it really matter at that point? I don't care what they did 3 days ago or the past 40 years. I care what led up to them getting brutalized or murdered. If they didn't do anything to justify being murdered at that point,
yeah,
then I don't really care what they've done for the past 40 years.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like as media, if CNN isn't doing the job of shining a spotlight on these criminals who are wearing badges, then it's our responsibility to take up that helm.
Right, because CNN and Fox and all them are already going to bastardize the person who was killed and glorify the cops.
Why is that? Why are they so in the back pocket of the police?
It's the same reason why.
Is it propaganda?
Well, it's the same reason why they propagandize political candidates and whatnot. Because the second they ask a tough question, they know they'll never get an interview with that person ever again, which means they lose their advertising revenue and they don't have as much political pull anymore. So as soon as you burn the bridge, then you're screwed. The police don't have to feed them any information, they want the information. So they're going to spin it anyway so they can continue their income source.
Hey, were you in Keene when CopBlock was founded, Eric?
No,
you were
I was in Ohio.
Oh, okay. Ohio! I'm glad you brought that up because Ohio kicks ass when it comes to CopBlock. Of all the
Columbus
different
did
chapters,
at the time.
Columbus did not?
Columbus did not. I don't know if it still does. It probably still does.
Video's got it on lock
Columbus is getting way better.
Yeah.
There was nobody there when I was in Columbus.
Yeah, there's some people in there that are
Into
more
the mic.
involved now.
Talk up like you're on radio, son.
People there are more involved now.
Well, thank you for making that happen, Dio. I don't know, what do you attribute that to? Why is there such a